Page 6, steady quarter notes. A couple quick things before we begin. My videos are aimed at adults. Now, I know there are some children who watch the videos, and it's all family friendly. There's no cussing or anything going on, at least not in front of the camera. There's not. But the language, the sentences, the words I use are intended for adults, is what I'm getting at. So if there's a child trying to use these videos, they may need an adult to help interpret what I'm saying. If I were teaching a small child, I would present the information a little bit differently than I do in the videos. Now, this book spends the first 30-some pages before you even get to written music, and I disagree with that approach. I've always disagreed with it. I don't see why you need 30-some pages before you can start learning to read music. And other books, when they've done this, I just skip those pages. My first lesson I give is the first lesson in the book where they actually have written music, and that's somewhere around page 31, 32, somewhere in there. However, this book seems so intent on using this approach, I'll go ahead and go along with it, even though I don't agree with it. I just don't think you need that long to learn them. They focus on the fingers and the keyboard first, and that's fine. I just don't think you need 30-some pages of that before you learn to read music. Now let's get started here. On page 4, they give you a little bit about sitting at the piano, posture, all that stuff. My points on posture is you need to be comfortable. Don't slouch, sit up straight, not super straight at attention or anything, just straight, comfortable. And the forearm, this part of the arm, needs to be pretty close to even with the ground. Pretty close. Now, if it is a small child and you're sitting and the feet don't reach the ground, it's good to have a stool or something so their feet can be on the stool. You see in the picture where the child the feet don't reach the ground, they put a stool down there. I agree with that. Yeah, don't just let the feet dangle. Let them, there's no real harm done. It's just, idea is we want to stay balanced and our legs help us balance, and we need our feet on something solid. As far as how far you are from the keyboard, well, it's a comfortable distance. So you don't get up close where you're all stuck in there like, ooh, and you don't reach. Just a comfortable distance. The top part of the arm is basically up and down. It can be out a little bit as necessary, but you're just a comfortable distance from the keyboard. On page 5, they talk about hand positions. Careful here. This is where a lot of books, in my opinion, get it all screwed up. Your hands, I'm talking about typical hands. I don't know if there's any deformities or not. I'm going to pretend they're not. You just got regular hands. When you relax the hands, the fingers curl. They have a little curl in them naturally. That's what you want. In other words, you don't curl the fingers. You just relax and let the fingers curl on their own. You don't need to grab a ball. You don't need to stretch out. There's sometimes in playing music where we might come in or out, but that's generally we want to just stay relaxed. The wrists, some books get this wrong too. The wrists, you want them to be straight. Some books show where the hand is straight into the keyboard no matter what, and the wrist is turned. Please don't. The wrists are straight, and it'll change as you go into different parts of the keyboard. That's okay. We'll deal with that. We just don't need to be doing this with the wrists anymore, and we absolutely have to, so don't. On page 5, toward the top on the right-hand side, they give finger numbers. The idea with finger numbers in piano is that sometimes we need to let you know which finger to use to play which key. So we number the fingers, and the finger numbers will be in the music when needed. So thumbs are 1, and little fingers are 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all, just fine. A little bit about the playing here. I don't know if you can see this well, but the finger can collapse. You see that little collapse there? We don't really want to do that in piano playing if we can help it. So when you're playing, you leave that. Don't let that joint collapse down when you're playing. Please try and keep that sort of the same. It doesn't take hardly any effort at all to push a key down. So you don't need to smash it down or try and push it into the floor or nothing. It's just push it down and don't collapse the finger, is I guess what I'm trying to say. On page 6, this is where we get to the quarter note thing. They show what a quarter note looks like. It's a solid circle and it has a line. We call the line a stem. So the note, it's a note, the circle part is the head, and the line is the stem. A quarter note looks like that. It's a solid circle with a stem. The stem can go up or down. That's not important. It doesn't affect that. It's known as a quarter note. In some countries, they're known as other things. I believe crotchets, or your country may call them crotchets. I'm going to use the terms we use in the United States on these, so I'm going to call them quarter notes. And you can translate them as you need to. It says a quarter note gets a count. Well, for now, we're going to let that happen. That's not always true. Quarter note does not always get one count. But as I said, for now, that's what we're going to do. That's a starting point. The idea with counting is it tells us how long to hold the notes down, because some notes are short and some notes are long and in between or whatever. And the counting helps us to figure out how long to hold the notes down. Right now, we're going to count it, and we're going to hold the notes down for one count. Now, they have steady quarter notes here, and they're showing the quarter notes, and they got one for the left hand and one for the right hand. That's okay. And you got 4 of each, and they're telling you can just tap on your lap. Tap anywhere you want, I don't care. The idea is we're just interested in the rhythm. We're going to count this 1, 1, 1, 1. Just a steady count. Not a lot going on there, huh? Now, there is a duet part at the bottom. A lot of these pages have duets for the teacher. There's a lot of good things can be said about duets. So I include them in the videos unless I forget. I'd like to play this part at the bottom, and you do the counting, tapping. You got 4 taps with the left hand, and then 4 taps with the right, and then 4 with the, you're just going back and forth. 4 taps of each, and go through the 4 tapping thing, what they give you, go through that twice. So when you get to the end, just go back to the beginning and keep going. And I'm going to play this top thing at the bottom while you tap. Now, I can't hear you tap, but you can hear it. So hopefully you can just keep a beat with me. So I'm going to give us 4 counts. I'm going to say 1, 2, ready, go. That's 4 counts. And then we're going to go. 1, 2, ready, go.